In 1970, few bands embodied the phrase lightning in a bottle like Pete Brown and Piblokto. They released two lengthy albums that year, plus a standalone single, and from the first of those, the title track, one of the perhaps the lengthiest title track ever. Things may come and things may go, but the art school dance goes on forever.
Here's a Chinese opium merchant. Here's a World War II GI. Here is a boy with his face painted. Here is a girl, her face unpainted.
Now, taking the arrangement so far, we've got this really buzzy, brisk precision and that organ kind of over it. We've got like two sounds. We've got kind of the buzzy, fuzzy guitar and that kind of like pipey organ. And the lyrics, let's unpack them so far. Here is a Chinese opium merchant. Here is a World War II GI. Here is a boy with his face painted. Here is a girl, her face unpainted. Deathly white shines through night. Okay, so far we have just kind of a list of people, and I'm wondering if this has something to do with, well, the title is a real thought provoker. We'll see where this is going.
Light shines through night. Here's a drunken British policeman. Here's a friendly prostitute. Here's a boy who's dead already. Here's the girl who once did love him.
Hearing like some really persistent bass rhythmic figure right in my left channel, and the fuzzy guitar in the right, and that organ front and center. We seem to have a pretty thick lineup of instruments here from the five guys present, and three guests on the album. I don't know if we've heard them yet, but Pete Brown, who had been the lyricist for Cream, and a longtime collaborator of Jack Bruce. He's on vocals, and on this album he also plays talking drum and Cornish slide whistle. Jim Mullen, guitar. Interesting. Never seen Mullen. Dave Thompson, organ, piano, mellotron, harmonium. Okay, harmonium. Maybe, yeah. And let's see, Roger Bunn, bass, acoustic guitar, Rob Tait, drums. Okay, I'm going to assume that that's harmonium, that sound that I'm hearing. Oh, and Dave Thomas also plays soprano, saxophone, and bass pedals.
By his side, tearful light.
Another verse has gone by me. Here is a drunken British policeman. Here is a friendly prostitute. Here is a boy who's dead already. Here is the girl who once did love him. By his side, a tear for a light. These first two verses seem like just kind of like just right, all these impressions of like daily Malay in the big city post-war. I really like these arrangements. We've got that really crackling, buzzy guitar coming out of this channel. We've got the bass led, like kind of like wah wah organ sound. It's kind of like. though I don't normally care about this sort of term, this is one of the most punk things I have heard from like the pre 77 era. I mean, and I'm not exaggerating. I mean, much more so than the quote unquote proto punk acts that are often cited. Um, and it's ironic because Pete Brown was an outspoken critic of the punk movement.
There's a chip from the Havaja, giving the questions to the people. There's a flag that comes to Mecca, there's a scarecrow down those people. There's a man with red rimmed eyes, holding his own hand as he cries.
Now the bass is really getting a lot more melodic, and it's almost sounding kind of like Hopper-esque, as in Hugh Hopper.
Here's a teacher makes his students, here's a monster out of space.
Well, when it was going through those lines on that bridge anyway, those licks it was throwing in there, let's see. Here is a chipper Maharaja giving the blessings to the people. Here is I guess some unintelligible lyrics, vicar, chasing the schoolgirls round the steeple. Here is a clown with red-rimmed eyes, pulling his own hand as he cries. I don't know where, I can't really parse where this is all leading up to, other than that it's just a bunch of various slices of life just coming at the narrator, like, you know, here is a teacher who makes his students. Here is a monster out of space. Here is a girl who loves her teacher. Here is a boy who'd really love her. Too far gone above her. Huh. I'm now starting to wonder if the last line in each stanza may be kind of summarizing the prior four lines in a way. And that maybe it's the last... It's those final lines in each stanza that should actually be compared for, or what they have in common. Maybe that's where the meaning is.
Here's a girl who loves her teacher, here's a boy who really loves her. Too far gone above her.
Now listen to what we got. The guitarist has changed. He's gone away from that buzzy riffage, and now he's playing some scales, almost slightly kind of Eastern tinge scales, and we've still got the same kind of rhythmic component before, brisk, you know, nimble bass work and just drumming that's just kicking up a flurry here of like speed and energy and starting to wonder if these lyrics are kind of another example, really, of that whole cut and paste genre that was coming in during the late 1960s, as as abstract expressionism was filtering into other mediums of art, like movie and music making. And like this may be just kind of the lyrical equivalent in some ways. Like maybe like an English rock parallel to the film Medium Cool that came out that year.
There's a lonely ballerina, blowing her flavors through the faces. There is a rafting politician, shaping. It's happy but the end is nearing.
Yeah, I think some of those 77 acts could have really benefited from throwing in a harmonium now and then.
In my beer, a bottle's a spear.
Oh, now we've got some great woodwinds coming into like the we've got that Mitch Mitchell type drumming, the Hugh Hopper-esque bass work. Kind of. It's not quite as distinct as Hopper, but it's. I would imagine that Soft Machine Volume 2 was an influence here, and then we've now got these fluttering little woodwinds. And yeah, sax, trombone, and trumpet were all credited, and Cornish slide whistle are all listed among the instruments heard on the album. It looks like we're turning in. It just gets kind of enveloped into this Dixieland Jam at the end. Let's see. Here's a teacher who makes his students. Here's a monster out of space. Here's a girl who loves her teacher. I think I read this already. Yeah. Skipping over. Here's a lonely ballerina throwing her favors to the faces. Throwing her favors to the faces. Huh, now that is kind of, I'm thinking of Mullen Rouge or something, kind of like a sexualized act on stage. Here is a rotten politician strangling the country with his laces. That's quite telling. Here is a king with tearful eyes losing his kingdom as he cries. Passengers dance, there's no escaping. Unintelligible lyric. The function of the year. Some things are melting, some are shaping. It's up above, the end is nearing. In my beer. Yeah, just random chaos from all walks of life around the world. Just coming over the news, coming at him through the media, I guess, and perhaps I guess the title is just a reference to the kind of artwork the kind of politicized social commentary artwork that was probably coming in vogue at art schools in the late 60s, like with these cut up collages of different political figures and actions and advertisement imagery and such as like young students started questioning the kind of messages they were receiving more. I am taking this opportunity to look up the meaning of the word Piblokto. Piblokto is a condition mostly common appearing in Greenlandic Inuit societies living within the Arctic Circle. Piblokto is a culture-specific hysterical reaction in Inuit, especially women, who may perform irrational or dangerous acts followed by amnesia for the event. Piblokto may be linked to repression of the personality of Inuit women. The condition appears most commonly in winter. It is considered to be a form of culture bound syndrome, although most recent studies question whether it exists at all. Yeah, interesting. I think the most telling part, perform irrational or dangerous act followed by amnesia for the event. Maybe that's that kind of meaning of the word is why Pete Brown chose that word as the name of his backing band. He had recently, the year before this, played in another band, the Battered Ornaments. He formed that band. They recorded an album together, and then the backing players that he had assembled fired him, is what I understand. And then they recorded another album without him. Everything he was involved in, though, was really good. The two albums from 1970, this one, and the follow-up, Thousands on a Raft, has another great, great, great song on it, Aeroplane-Headed Woman, one of the greatest, like, monster hard rock riffs of that period. I swear, right up, and I'm gonna have to do it soon. Right up there with like Smoke on the Water and Aqualung and its distinctive menace. And of course, he was involved in the Wheels of Fire album by Cream, wrote some lyrics, and he was involved in some of Jack Bruce's stuff during the 70s, Harmony Row, and the later House Tricks. Yeah, it was around that time he wrote Rolling Stone magazine, and he had a letter published in that year. He was critical of their take on the House Tricks album. An all right album, not one of Jack Bruce's best, but Pete Brown was saying that Rolling Stone magazine and American musical train spotters in general should be very happy for the success in their country, meaning America. Him speaking from an English standpoint, of the success of the Crusaders, Steely Dan. Those were bands he mentioned. He mentioned a few others. I can't quite remember offhand. Anyway, and thankful that the music scene has embraced those acts, and it isn't the kind of wilderness currently going on in the UK. He said him being very, very critical of the current scene circa 1977 in the UK. Of course, I think he was just dwelling perhaps on one aspect of it, Southeast England for the most part. And for that part, just the stuff that was in the smaller clubs, not necessarily the concert halls. Because the music scene in England was very diverse throughout the 70s, and 1977, one of the great things about it was that it was so multi-generational at that point, and there was so much different things going on. I mean, and what he may have been kind of bothered by at that point, it's ironic after hearing what we just heard that he didn't. But then again, I don't know if at that point he had even really heard maybe it was a case of been there, done it, or maybe he just had only been exposed to the more sensationalized or kind of dumbed down aspects and hadn't heard like the artier, more complex, more maximalistic side, having been maybe if he was exposed to like the Stranglers or Magazine, he may have had a somewhat different impression, say, than if he was only being exposed to like the Ramones or Sham 69. But anyway, Pete Brown and Piblokto, we heard the title track from the 1970 album Things May Come and Things May Go, but the art school dance goes on forever. For more rubies and sapphires from the catalog of Pete Brown and Piblokto, see the directory of albums by English P artists linked in the description below, where you will find the albums from Pete Brown, as well as albums by other P acts like Paddo, The Psychedelic Furs, Public Image Limited, The Police, Peter Hamill, Peter Gabriel, Pete Townsend, Paul Young. Yeah, the list goes on and on and on. Penetration, The Pale Fountains, Pink Floyd, Phil Collins, Petula Clark. Yeah, could list them all day. Procol Harum. I pulled up the Pig Bag. Yeah, Pentangle, The Peddlers, Prefab Sprout. Yeah, Pablo Gad. Yeah, get on over there and let's see, 269 titles currently on that page, so don't try and take it all in one day or even 1 month. It could be years of musical discovery, red hot tracks, tasty purples. And like and subscribe and follow me on social media and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about this song. Maybe you have a take on these lyrics that I may have missed, or more insights into what the lyrics were about, I'd like to hear them. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear travel trimaximalist, signing off.